normally I don't know when I'm gonna start. Well, I have a lead in. We normally bullshit. But like I said, I know you personally, good friend, or we've been
Yeah.
friends for a minute.
We're good friends.
I don't know, man. I don't like hanging around you because you bring out the bad side of me sometimes.
I know what you're talking about, brother.
Right? All right, so let's get started, man. First of all, welcome to Film Noobs, guys. If you've been listening, we've had a couple of directors that have been part of our film festival, but today I have a really, really special guest, a really good friend of mine, badass director, actor, promoter, wrestling dude. We're gonna get into a lot of really in-depth, fucking badass stuff. Again, I'm really happy to talk to him on this platform. Michael, Ocho. Everybody just calls him Ocho because that's all he needs. He's like share Ocho.
The one name guy, right?
Yeah, the one name guy. So Ocho, man, welcome to Film Noobs, brother. Tell us a little bit about yourself, man, real quick.
All right, man. Michael Ochotorena. Everyone does call me Ocho because even me, when I was younger, couldn't pronounce that name. I'm excited to be here. You're a good friend of mine. We worked together in the past. Now I'm living here in Texas, and I'm hoping to conquer this Texas thing and this movie thing in Texas, and just do some great things. Not only helping myself, but helping others too. So
Cool. Now you said you just moved to Texas. I knew what you were in Arizona, I believe.
yeah, I'm originally from California,
Okay.
San Bernardino, Purdue, and I lived in Texas. I lived in Arizona, where I met my wife, and I was there for some years. And last year, I made the leap, and I'm here in Texas now, and working with a whole bunch of Texas actors, promoters, and all kinds of stuff in the entertainment industry.
That's
I
awesome.
love Texas, man. I can't get
And
used
so,
to the weather.
by the way, if you're watching this, because we do both video and audio, for those of you who are not watching it, I have Ocho, but he's on his wife's phone because guys can't get shit right, so he's on his wife's phone and it says Cece, and she is a great freaking person. I think she's the better half, like literally the better half of Ocho.
Yeah,
And I
she's the
know
motor. She's the motor behind the under the hood. Because without her, I find two socks that match.
there you go.
She's my agent. She's my manager. She's the one that handles the money. Like I said, if I wouldn't have ever met her, I think I'd still be in a bad spot. But she is the better half of Ocho.
I know. I like I said,
Or
when
we
I met
call
her
ourselves Team Ocho.
Monday.
We call ourselves Team Ocho.
Team Ocho, there you go. Yeah, like I said, when I had met her, well, I had met both of y'all, and I had the pleasure of meeting her at the same time. I was like, man, yeah, she's a driving force of Ocho, and you could tell,
Yeah.
and wonderful people, wonderful. Don't let the tattoos get y'all flustered, because regardless of that mean old mug, you're a badass, awesome person. But
Thank you, man.
with that said, and this is something before we move on to the film stuff that I want to talk to you about, because I know you do have a ministry, and in that
Yeah.
ministry you talk about the moment coming to God and so forth. And we're not going to preach, but we are going to come to light about how you came to be here, where you are now, and where you were, and that process.
All right. So in a nutshell, I'm going to give the shortened version since we're doing this. Normally, I do motivational speaking, and I've spoken and I've preached all over the country of my transition from being a hardcore gang member, prisoner, heroin addict, and how I've transitioned and succeeded and moved above all that. Basically, short end of it, I grew up without a father. Blamed a lot of stuff on not having a father. Um, Joined gangs at a young age. Had a twisted view of love, that thinking that respect and people respecting me and the honor code was love. People being afraid of me, I thought was love. Um, and doing stuff for the gangs, I thought was a love thing and a twisted view of love. Did I was already in seventh grade getting arrested, spent in and out of juvie, and that was like my second home. And then later graduating to the big times and joined gangs in prison. I'm not going to mention gang names, but when you're Mexican, you're with the Mexicans. When you're Anglo, you're with the Anglos, and blacks are with the blacks. So I was obviously in the Mexican gang and did a lot of horrible stuff while I was in prison, and did a lot of horrible stuff when I came out because my thing was, like I said, was about respect, was about doing what I was told. And I thought that people would respect me if I was the biggest, baddest, meanest guy. Um, I tried to. My father was into criminal activities as well. I heard stories of how he was this big, bad, feared man, and deep down inside, I think maybe I felt that if I was this big, bad person, maybe he would love me a little bit more, and because he was never involved in mine or my sister's life.
Mm.
Um, in fact, I just became a monster. I was drug dealing. I was an enforcer. If you owed the drug man money and you got a knock on the door and I was the guy on the other side, that was not a good thing. I was going to find out where your mother lived, where your kids lived. I mean, where your kids went to school. Forgive me. Um, any relative, because if you didn't pay, I was going to hurt them. And no remorse. I know a lot of people come up when they're giving testimony, when they're giving their life story. They say, "Oh, I felt bad doing it," and I did not feel bad. I loved it. I thrived in it. I loved the fear in people's eyes when they thought I was going to kill them. I loved the fear and it motivated me. It made me stronger. Um, I just felt that that was a normal part of every day is when people respected me. I thought fear was all about respect and love, and thought I had all the friends in the world. Thought everybody loved Ocho, but in fact, you come to realize that in the end, it's what you can give people and what they can take from you. And as long as you're giving, as long as you're the life of the party, people will be there for you. But the moment that ends, you find out who your true friends and family are. And I continued that life for many years, and I can say that that life, that gang life, that drug life, because I was a heroin addict as well. Started off with cocaine, what I used to sell, and it became not strong enough for me. So I started using heroin and mixing cocaine and heroin. Um, I had two heart attacks in my early 30s, and I OD'd. I was found in an alley. When I came to in the hospital, they said you were found in an alley. Don't know how I got there, but my so-called friends and my so-called um, people I trusted thought I was dead. They want to get in trouble, so they dumped me in an alley. That's the kind of friends you have in that life, in that world. And I got tired of the life. I got tired of waking up every day to a new woman. I got tired of just always watching my back, because in that life, there's always someone that's bigger and badder, no matter how big and bad you think you are, that is ready to take your place. That is actually planning and masterminding their next move. And it's not like the movies. Let me tell you, it's a lot more violent, a lot more sinister than any movie could ever portray. And I got tired of that life. Got tired of kind of like, I felt like it was a Groundhog Day, um, where the main character, Bill Murray, he wakes up. It's the same thing over and over and
Yeah.
over again. I felt like that life was like that, and I got tired of it. And I hope I'm not just rambling on, but
No, 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 bro. Go keep. Yeah.
yeah, but the turning point was me becoming the monster that I hated the most, and I hated my father. I hated him for him not ever being around me or my sister, for promising stuff that he never delivered, for promising to be at birthday parties, promising to be at graduations, sporting events, and never was there. And I chose choosing drinking, drugs, and alcohol, women before his own kids. And here I was. I had my son Mikey, and I was the same thing as the person I hated, choosing drugs, women, and alcohol, and partying and that lifestyle before my own son. Basically, my sister, and my mom are raising him, and it's pretty hard when you realize that the person that you ran away and tried to be not like, you end up becoming like them. And one day he was, I believe, second, third grade. He was having this little rodeo event, and rodeo, if you don't know, in Arizona, you guys should have it here in Texas too. Is is that whole cow and pony show in Tucson, Arizona, where I was living. It was a big event. Like they even took off 2 days of school for it.
Wow.
And so they were having this big event. He invited me to go. He wanted to show off his dad to everybody. And I don't know what made me go, but something made me go. And as he's looking around, he sees his little friend who's a girl. He's waving to her, and he's like, "Dad, that's my little friend Mariah." And here I wasn't looking at Mariah. I was looking at Mariah's mom. And I was like thinking to myself, "Man, this is the most beautiful woman I've ever seen." And she's gonna be mine, because I was used to, when you're the drug guy, when you're the guy that has money, you get whoever you want. I'm not the best looking guys, but I had some of the hottest women because of what I did. And so I figured she'd be easy, whatever. And she's the first girl that ever dissed me in my life. And you don't know how hard that hurts your ego. But I was persistent in the fact that I was going to get this girl no matter what. Here is Ocho, all tattooed gangster, joining PTA, joining cop, Boy Scout leader, trying to be a Boy Scout leader, which I did succeed in becoming a Boy Scout leader. Um, just every meeting I can to see this woman and to get to know her. And man, I was continuously dissed until one day she gave in. We went out, and then she gave me a kind of like an ultimatum. This is where I say God's a funny God, because she ends up the daughter of a minister, a pastor, and she says, "If you want to be in my life, you got to have God in between us." And I was like, I don't know what it was, made me go. I said I wanted something different. I wanted her. She intrigued me. No other woman had been so hard to pursue, and so I went kicking and screaming to church. But I heard a message that I had never heard before, because remember, I had a twisted view of love.
Yeah.
And that message was that Jesus died on the cross. He shed his blood not just for the rich, not just for the privileged, not just for the white. He shed his blood for everybody, no matter your race, your creed, your lifestyle, no matter what you've done in your life. And I felt like I was so far gone. I had done so many horrible things, that that I was too far gone. I had a collection of fingers. That's how bad I was. People that I used to torture and owed me money, and I thought I was too far gone. And God, hearing the message that there is a God that forgives you no matter what, that can redeem you, that can make you new, a new man. That kind of changed my life, and that kind of like sat in my heart for a while, because it changed the black heart that I had inside of me, with no remorse, no guilt, no compassion, and it made me start wanting to be a different person. I wanted to change my life and be with this woman too. Um, I gave up drugs cold turkey, almost died because I was a tecato, and man, worst sickness I ever had. She thought I had the worst flu in the world, pneumonia, whatever. But I was secretly almost dying, trying to get off those drugs. I gave up. I gave up drinking. I have stage 2 cirrhosis of the liver, from heroin and alcohol, and so it was killing me too. And I gave up drinking, gave up drugs. I um, I wanted to be a different person. I wanted to be. She had kids from a previous relationship. I had my son. I wanted to be a good dad, someone that was different from the dad I knew, and just trickled down from there, man. Gave up all my old friends, gave up my lifestyle. Um, and I could never hide who I used to be because I carry the marks of who I used to be on my face. But when people ask, "Would you want to get rid of those tattoos and laser them off?" I'm like, no, because it actually provides a doorway, a gateway to help others who came from the same life as me, and show them that, you know what, someone like me who was the darkest of dark people and the darkest hearts, if I could change, you can change. If I can do better for myself and give up that lifestyle, you can give up that lifestyle. If I could find a God and that that's forgiving and that washes your sins clean, you can find that God too. And and it just changed me, made me a different person. This woman that I'm talking about is the woman you were talking about before, Cece. And so the story ends up a good, happy story because we've been together now for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
And I've raised her kids like mine and so forth with mine. We have now, we're kind of like the Brady Bunch, five teenagers. Um, and trust me, that's why I shaved my head because I'd have a full set if if um if I let it grow because teenagers are hard. Here I was dealing with gang members and killers, and my teenagers give me more. They put more fear in my heart than than I ever got with those gang members. I
Yeah.
come through the door, I'm like, what am I to expect before I know anything? But teenager angst is what I feel, what I fear. But I'm happy, man, that I'm a different guy than my father was. I learned to forgive my father too. We still don't have a good relationship, but I've forgiven him because I used to blame all who I became and what I did on him. And the fact is when you're an adult, you make your own choices.
Yeah.
Uh, you choose to be who you're going to be, and you choose to change if you want to change. And so I shouldn't blame not one person of who I became. I chose to become that monster. But then again, I also chose to become who I am today. And I'm happy I chose what I chose because when you're doing good things happen to you. I stumbled upon the movie acting thing. I used to be I was a Golden Gloves boxer. I was a martial artist for many, many years. So I got called to do fight choreography for this low budget local movie. They saw the way I looked. They saw the way I could act. I could memorize a script a day before, and they made me the main villain. And from there, other people saw me. They started putting me in music videos for like big country western stars like Randy Houser and other big names. I was music videos with MC Magic and other things. And from there, I just started getting big movie roles. Got They got me in the SAG um, and doing union movies, doing non-union movies. I became fight core, so I can work both. And now I've been in over 180 movies and TV shows, and I think I can say I'm one of the most working actors. And then I finally was able to do a movie called John Light, which is kind of like a movie. I always want to do a faith-based movie,
Yeah.
and then I got blessed with doing a movie that was kind of based like my life story, prison life story. So that movie just opened up eyes, blew up, was number one on PureFlix for 6 months. People still, it was made in 2019, and people still hit me up from all over the world, Messenger and Instagram, telling me just how that movie's just moved them and changed their life and reminds them of family members or themselves or children, and to keep doing the good work. And I met my partner through John Light.
Yeah.
Um, I met my partner through John Light, which Gary Lee Vincent. Um, he was the assistant director in that movie, and he brought me into Burning Bulb. I'm a partner now at Burning Bulb.
Stop. Getting ahead of
All right.
Hold on. Let's take this part of. There's a lot of unpackaging right there. Let me take a real
Story.
quick break.
My wife snapped her fingers. This is why I love Cece. She's snapping her fingers behind me, saying, "Let him talk."
No, you're good. Let me take a quick break because I have to. We'll be right back and we'll continue because I have some questions for you. I don't want you to unpackage everything right off the back, because then there's no
Sounds
fun
good.
for them. I know your story, but I want them to really, really get in the nitty gritty of who Ocho is, man. Because again, I know there's a lot of things you have upcoming, and I want to touch on them.
Yeah.
I don't want to like give them away right off the back, and I also want to touch on
Sounds
something
good.
you said. All right.
Sounds
Cool.
good, man.
All right, so we'll be right back, guys. All right, so we are back. I got to make sure the last podcast, man, I felt so bad because we had talked for 30 minutes and I went to click the turn off button and all of a sudden it started recording in progress. I was like, oh, chinga. I was like, dude, we just.
Oh, you forgot.
Minutes. I felt so bad.
That's happened to me. I've done podcasts too, and I've had issues where it ran out of time, or if their connection is really bad, it was just horrible,
Yeah.
You have to run into a lot of these things, but we're gonna pray that this goes well now.
All right, so let's continue our conversation real quick. You pretty much where we're at right now is your come to Jesus moment, and you started film, and you were talking about how you met your business partner. Well, not business partner at that particular moment, but the one who kind of became your business partner.
Yes, sir. So
it's Gary, right?
Let's do it.
Go for it.
So basically, I met him through John Light. We were filming, and he was the assistant director, Gary Lee Vincent, and the biggest white boy you could ever see.
Yeah.
And country guy from West Virginia, someone that Ocho would never be friends with. And it's like funny. We were cordial. We were cool with each other, but not friends on John Light, because in John Light I was the main star. They had me away. Truthfully, they had me in some kind of like mansion away from the other cast members and this and that. And as soon as I was done filming, they escorted me out to the place they had me staying at. And so we really didn't get to be friends, but I got called out for the same company to work on a movie called Dispatched, and he was a director on it. And from there, we just started talking. We liked the same music. I'm an old, I like rock, heavy metal, and stuff. And he liked the same kind of music. We liked the same type of movies. We just started talking. We got along really well. And then we started talking about our ideas of making movies and not just the faith-based movies, but horror movies and action movies and all kinds of stuff. And we had the same love of the same kind of stuff. And man, we just clicked. And from then on, we've worked together making movies. We've made many movies. He trusted me to be a director in a movie called Faded Memories, a horror comedy movie. And I was the assistant director on a movie that we made together called Strange Friends. And from then on, now I'm directing a movie right now, currently filming in San Antonio called The Standoff, and acting and directing in it, kind of like the kind of Clint Eastwood kind of thing. And I love what I do. I love that we can make film and stuff, and stories come to life, and it's the greatest thing, man, to be able to do this with one of your best friends.
That's badass. Now let me ask you a question, because, well, for those of you who can't see who Ocho is, and if you look him up on IMDb, you'll see what I'm talking about. when you look at this man, he is tattooed from head to toe. Like
Yeah.
even his butt is tattooed. Don't ask me how I know,
Yeah.
but it's
The
tattooed.
most awful thing is that now I've gotten a little fatter. Tattoos that used to go straight across now go diagonally. And fun of me because they made me they were like, "Hey, Dad, you should get a Marvel tattoo." And me and you are around the same age. You remember that show, The Incredible Hulk, with Bill Bixby
Yeah,
and Lou Ferrigno?
yeah.
That was my favorite. So I went and got a Hulk tattoo on my stomach. And now that I'm a little fatter, it looks like a big green Buddha. So what is, I promise you guys out there that Hulk will look more like Hulk again.
so like I was saying, if you look at him, I mean, he is tattooed up, and I know you get this a lot. A lot of the times, and you kind of segued this earlier. A lot of times, people are going to look at you and have these preconception notice of who Ocho is. Not only that,
Yeah.
but if they look at you and you automatically have this weathered look, and I don't mean that in
Yeah.
a bad way, but you know you have that
Yeah.
weathered. You've been through life. You know you have that what people call resting bitch, but it's not resting bitch. It's that I'm mad all the time, but you're not. You're great,
Yeah.
big teddy bear. Anyways,
Yeah.
so
Now,
in the acting world, do you feel that being typecasted or being that you automatically get seen in that, is it a positive thing or is it, like you said earlier, it's a way for you to get in? And how do you get about that?
before I got into movies, I could never get a job because of all the tattoos on my face, my head, my hands, fingers. Um, and I always was judged for the way I looked instead of what I knew. It's funny in movies though that when you're the tattooed guy, you get a lot of roles. And yeah, I will say, when I first started my career, I was typecast. Always the villain, always the main villain, always the order giver, always the guy chopping off heads. I was in a movie called Al Coyote in theaters. Um, I was the main villain chopping off heads and cussing people out and doing this. And I was typecast and I loved it for a while because there's a lot of actors out there looking for work and begging for work, and I got it freely.
Yeah.
And thing I can say is the villain gets the most lines because he's telling his whole plans of world domination. But for a while, I loved it. But then I had some directors reach out and say, you know, what would sell even more? The tattooed guy being the funny guy, or the tattooed guy that's the priest or the cop. You know what I mean? And there were some directors some took some chances on me, and I'm pretty good at comedy. And I've been in some comedies where they're like, "Man, you were the funniest one on the whole movie." And now I'm cast not just as the main villain. I'm cast as the hero sometimes. I'm cast as the comedian, the comic relief. I'm doing a movie. I just filmed a movie in Odessa called Tapeworm Z with Billy Pond. I don't know if you know Billy
Yeah.
Pond. And I'm the comic relief, the big guy that everyone thinks is tough, but he's the biggest chicken, and inadvertently saves the world because of his fear. And I'm just loving it, man. I'm given opportunities now. I never was given opportunities, and I'm here to prove that yeah, you can look big, bad, and mean, but you can play anything you want. You set your heart to it.
That's awesome, brother. And again, it's one of those things that you have to ask because a lot of times when you look at characters, for example, Ryan Reynolds, and this is something that my wife and I were talking about yesterday. When you look at Ryan Reynolds, you see Ryan Reynolds, or you see Deadpool,
Yeah.
and that's really all you see. I mean, and anything he's always played, it's the same thing. But like, I know when I saw you in John Light, and that was the first film I actually saw from you because this was shortly after we had met on the set of American Soil. I saw the movie and I was like, damn, I would easily typecast you as what we had for American Soil, the being bad dude, the enforcer, the cutting off head, yada yada yada.
And that's easy for me.
Yeah, but in John Light, you actually had a moment where you have to reflect emotion. And I think that's even harder for an actor because to reflect emotion, you have to dig deeper either find a spot where you were, or you can just find something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now talking about John Light and Gary, and you again you led into this uh, about the production company you have. You said a lot of faith-based movies as well as other types of movies.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if well, you let me know if I'm privy to this or not. But I know with your company, you've also kind of given the opportunity to other filmmakers.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a little bit.
So basically, we do all types of movies. We do horror movies, we do comedies, we do faith-based movies, and we're all about first of all, with faith-based movies, we wanna kind of get away from those traditional Hallmark cheesy movies where people look at them and say that's so cheesy, I wouldn't watch that. We want to do stuff that's real, that people can relate to, and that people that normally wouldn't watch a faith-based movie might tune into. Things having to do with drug abuse, homelessness, sex trafficking, but the message is that God is the answer at the end. Um, but as far as helping others, we look to cast unknowns. We look to cast. Yeah, we could spend all our budget on a big name and get them in there for a day, but we'd rather to cast locals, unknowns, people that could get a chance, you know what I mean, and be the next thing. We look at helping. We always look for a new team, a good team in Burning Bulb. So if you're a good cinematographer, if you're a good director, we're going to give you opportunities. It's just helping others, and then we help others through distribution, where we do distribution for movies, and we try and eliminate costs like other distribution companies do. They're like, oh, you have to pay up front. We got to pay all this money. You can't make money until you pay this amount of money. No, we're kind of like a co-op thing, helping other directors, helping other filmmakers. Where in the fact, we're going to make the least amount of money, but make sure that filmmaker's seen, and make sure that filmmaker is out there, make sure his stuff's seen all over the world in stores, and we're not looking to kill this filmmaker by sucking all the money out of him and sucking all the money out of his project. So it's all about helping others. It's all about getting people out there, getting people seen, and movies that normally indie movies that normally wouldn't be on a big platform. We try to get all that exposure and get them places they'd never be seen before.
That's badass, bro. And I had hoped you kind of led into that. And only because again, I know you personally, and I know your background. And I know a lot of little secrets, industry secrets.
You do.
Yeah,
Well, you're first to die.
right. Chingo. But it's one of those things that I was excited when I know your company approached me about the current film that we're doing,
Yeah.
and some of the things that y'all were offering me. And even when I was talking to the previous guest on the podcast, I was like, man, I felt bad because they were being ripped off. They had a cap, like you said, they had a cap of things that they had to pay off to the company, and then
I've seen it so many times.
They lost control of their film for like 10 years. And I was like, dude, if they only knew about Ocho's company. And so I was hoping that you
still your movie, as long as you're with us. We can get you on stuff, but if you get a deal with some other stuff, just let us know. And because it's still your movie, you're still able to do your thing. But the fact is, we're gonna try our hardest to get you out there. We're gonna promote for you. We're gonna do everything. But a lot of these distribution companies, where they get you is these upfront fees. Oh, we're going to get you in stores. We're going to put so many out there. But they don't tell you that if you don't sell at the stores send them back, and then you have to pay for all that. There's a lot of secrets out there that they don't tell you. And we're just trying to be honest, trying to be a company that people, when they look at us, we have all full transparency. Our reports are on our site for our filmmakers. With they can look at it and say, look, this is what I've done in this channel, this channel, this channel, and then through DVDs, through the stores, and they know what they're making. It's all about transparency. A lot of these distribution companies, they're out to rip off people.
Yeah, and I do appreciate that. And again, I kind of wanted you to bring it out because, if anything, I'm gonna probably open up an invite to a lot of the filmmakers that I know, especially with our film festival, and through the contacts that we've made, that if they do need a distribution, check you out, give you a
Yeah.
shot. Um, Again, what's the page we could go to?
Burning Bulb, www.burningbulbpublishing.com.
Okay.
Um, and then you reach out to myself or Gary Lee Vincent on there, and we'll talk to you guys. We'll walk you through exactly what our company is about. We'll tell you, we'll give you examples of how other companies, you know what I mean, rip you off, and they're just all about the money. Um, but more than importantly, we want to be a company that people can trust, you know, and people can know that we're there to help filmmakers get out there, you know.
That's badass, brother. Now, again, besides being in the movies, again, over 130 feature films, um, TV shows, you said, same thing,
Yeah.
promotion company, distribution company. You do one more thing, and that's wrestling, and that's something I love because the film that we did was wrestling.
Well,
So
the film you just did was pro wrestling.
yeah, so it's like I'm excited just to talk about that, and
It was
I'm
like
looking at your shirt. I'm looking at your shirt, and shameless plug, shameless plug. Thank you.
Hollywood Ocho.
Hollywood Ocho. Let's talk about Hollywood Ocho, the man, the myth, the legend, because you just got a title belt, but you had to retire.
Yeah.
And
So if you don't know this, I'm also a pro wrestler, and I've been doing that now for a couple of years. And it's funny how it worked out that movie Tapeworm Z I was just talking about. We were filming that. That goes back a couple of years. But during the time of the pandemic, that's why they're barely finishing it up now. It's because they had to stop for a while. But
yeah,
ended up meeting my tag team partner and one of my other best friends in the world, Tony Hack Covington, and he also is the host of I don't know if you know about horror hosts and the kind of those shows like Elvira used to
yeah,
do,
yeah,
and the sci-fi one with Little Robot, Mystery Theater.
yeah.
He is a horror host, and his show is Hack's Horror Show, which strangely I'm a sponsor of. And Hack's Horror Show, Roku everywhere, Monster Channel,
There
and
you go.
anyways, I met him, and he is half owner of TPW, Total Psychopathic Wrestling, and he was just cracking up my improv because I gotta say I am very good at improv, and he was like, bro, you're better than most of the wrestlers I know at doing promos and and videos. And he goes, your look, he goes, I think you could be a wrestler. And I joked with him. I said, yeah, I'll go out and make an appearance. He didn't know I was going to come all geared up with wrestling boots and gear and stuff and make this whole persona called Hollywood Ocho, this Hollywood star who thinks he's better than everyone because he grew up in the streets, but now he's this actor that has money and can pay off people. And in the back of my shirt, you can't see it now, my logo is I'm rich and you're not. And and so I go out there, I insult the people of Tennessee, call them they're all inbred and they don't have teeth, and man, they hated me. And I was the biggest heel out there. And they started Tony started training me a little bit in wrestling, and I started having some matches. And now it's funny because I started off as a heel. I go out in the wrestling ring and I get Hollywood chants. The kids make signs for me and love me. I'm the most popular wrestler in Tennessee, which is kind of funny because I'm the only Mexican wrestler in Tennessee. But I've wrestled all over Detroit, all over the East Coast for various promotions. I've wrestled here in San Antonio too, and I beat the Rocky Mountain heavyweight champion here in San Antonio. Um, so I've wrestled even here. And the thing is, I'm one of the older wrestlers. I'm 45 years old, man. So I'm wrestling 20-year-olds. So a match usually that and I do hardcore matches, death matches, where I get hit by stuff, and I get when people say wrestling's fake, my 5 broken ribs I got last year were not fake.
Yeah.
It's hardcore, and it's a lot of action, man. And after a match, I have to recover for a week or 2 weeks afterwards. So but it's the most fun I've had in the longest time. It's one of my greatest passions. I grew up watching Macho Man, $1 Million Man, Sergeant Slaughter, Undertaker. You know what I mean? Ultimate Warrior, and to be able to live out this dream of being a wrestler is something awesome, man. Um, the saddest moment in my life was the other day announcing that I'm retiring from in-ring wrestling. So,
Man, I could
but
imagine. And it was so funny. We were doing a documentary when we were doing the film and everything. And I noticed one thing, and I loved it, and I would love watching this part of wrestling. That and people don't see this, and maybe it's kayfabe for people who don't understand this. That the behind the curtain and in front of the curtain, behind the curtain, y'all are there most of the time. It's goofing off, kind of
oh yeah,
getting
yeah,
ready. But I noticed when I was doing the recording that right as the wrestlers would step to that line, that imaginary line, right before they cross the curtain, something just overtakes you. Just snap. And as soon as you cross that threshold, that line is like, wow, you see your superstars
it's
come on, and
it's
you're like,
it's like kind of like the reason why I love it so much. It's like live theater, man. And you have these people in the palm of your hand, either loving you or hating you. All of us in the back, the ones we wrestle, we're best friends in the back. We're all laughing and joking together, getting our boots on, getting dressed. But when you cross that curtain, is when you become Hollywood Ocho. You know,
yeah,
Hollywood Ocho don't play, and Hollywood Ocho will kill you. But it's just like a snap of the finger, and you become almost like, it's kind of like, I call it like the Superman thing, where he would
yeah.
go in the telephone booth, come out as a different character. And yeah, man, I'll be honest, like it's a high, man. It's a high, like you never know before. And when people are cheering for you, when you got kids coming up hugging you, Hollywood, Hollywood. You know what I mean? It's great, man.
Now, I again going back to this last film that we did, we actually had some wrestlers play actors, and vice versa. We had a couple actors learn how to wrestle, and it was so interesting because again going back to that emotional change, that snap,
Yeah.
most of my wrestlers, they would say the same thing. It's like for them it's 12 minutes of glory, just all out, just chinga tu madre, all
Yeah.
out there, but in acting it's like, okay, action, cut, all right, reset, action, cut, reset, action, cut. It's like 2-3 hours worth of that. And one of my wrestlers was like, dude, I'm emotionally drained at the end of the day because you're constantly having to do it over and over and over.
Oh
And
yeah. I will admit, wrestling was easy for me because of my training in acting,
yeah,
and because of my experience in acting. Um, you don't realize acting is one of the hardest jobs in the world. Um, and as a filmmaker, indie filmmaker, as myself, where we're filming 14-hour days, you know what I mean? And constantly cut, wait around for a while, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Get that, like the John Lacey where I'm crying and where I'm emotional. Hardest thing I ever did. Not because I had to cry, because that was easy for me because I could just reflect on my old life. But having to stop when you're in the middle of that and then dry your tears up and start up again, that's what people don't realize, how hard being an actor is. And some people are cut for it and some people aren't. And there's a lot of people out there that shouldn't be acting.
yeah.
Training. Same thing in wrestling, and in wrestling it was easy for me because of where I came from. Usually wrestlers start off wrestling, then they go into acting. I kind of went backwards,
Yeah.
but it was easy for me, and I'm not gonna lie, the bumps and all that is hard work, man, and it's I give credit to. I'm not a high flyer wrestler. I'm more of a brawler. So I give credit to the ones who fly all over the place and fly from the top rings and stuff, because I'm at that age where I can't do that.
No, I get you, man. I get you. I tried it once. They tried again. My wrestler buddies, they try to show me how hard it really was, and they try to slam me, and I got up like 2 inches, and after that, I nutted up. I froze because
Yeah,
I hadn't taken a bump, like real bump and everything, and they
yeah,
picked me up, and I was like, oh shit, I froze, and because they saw that I froze, they kind of tried to stop me and hold me so I wouldn't take the bump, and I ended up kind of hurting one of them because he kind of braced me because that's what
yeah,
you do. You protect your
yeah,
counterpart. And I ended up hurting him in the process. I felt so bad. I was like, dude, you should have just let me go. He's like, we
yeah.
can't do that. That's against.
No, in the ring, we all both whether it's tag team or whether it's singles wrestling, we protect each other in the ring, man. And that's the main thing is we go over the matches beforehand. Um, we know where the we more than likely know where the bumps are going to come, and we try to protect each other. Um, and and people just don't realize, man. It's they're all it's fake. It's all they have the
No,
easiest job in the world. It's not fake, man. Because you know what, wrestlers, especially indie wrestlers, they go out there and make a little bit of pay, chump change, and they put their bodies in the line for the audience. You know what I mean?
yep.
So it's like I give these wrestlers so much credit. I met wrestlers out there that that have impressed me, and a few I just want to name real quick, especially Tony Covington, Hack Covington. Man, that guy is so beat up outside of the ring, but he puts his 100% in it in the ring when he's wrestling. Um, Tennessee Trash, Brad Cash, people like Matt and Pitbull or Matt Raby. He's out there and he's 40 years old and man he wrestles like he's a 20-year old. There's so many wrestlers out there and I just give them credit for all that they do.
That's badass, man. Again, it's a different level of respect.
Yeah,
And again, seeing the wrestlers going into acting and so forth, and that's another thing that kind of brings me back to acting and film because that's really what we're talking about with film. The preparation a lot, and like you said, a lot of these guys don't need to be, and some of us, I've tried it because again, as a director, I want to see how hard it is sometimes to ask my
yeah,
actors certain things and demand of them, and I'm like, as a director, fuck it, I just get to tell you what to do, but
yeah.
it's not. But anyways, future projects that you have coming up, man. I know you said you
Um,
just finished one here in San Antonio.
yeah. I have a couple more scenes left, and then I'll be wrapping that up. It's called The Standoff. It's a faith-based movie about a church shooter,
Uh-huh.
and mainly the intervention of God through prayer of changing that up, and it's really hot right now with all the shootings. So I figured let's stir the pot a little bit. You know what I mean? And I'm excited with that one, and a lot of unknown actors. Then we got myself, Gary, acting in it. I got some local actors here in Texas working on it too. Kiki, you know Kiki.
Yeah.
I got Kiki on it. I got Joe Lozano on it. I got a few other people that I've met here in Texas. But also got just had a movie out in theaters last couple months ago called Running the Bases, and that is I'm the villain in that, and it was in theaters and nationwide. Did really well for a faith based movie. Did really well. Um, and then I just got some stuff coming up on in wrestling. They say when you retire, you're never really retired. So so who knows what's on the horizon? All I can tell you is be on the lookout because me and Hack are coming out with something that might just change the shape of what you think about wrestling.
Nice, nice. Now you got me all excited about wrestling. Like that.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
it's hard to promote one or the other because I love it all I do, whether it be ministry, whether it be wrestling, whether it be movies. It's just hard to promote each one because I love them all.
yeah.
And hustler, man, I grew up in the streets hustling, and so I'm gonna hustle in all I do here. And And people will know the name Ocho because they're gonna say he was the hardest worker I've ever seen. And the thing is, I want to come off as a humble person, not a diva, not someone that comes in a set and says, "Oh, he thinks because he's been in almost 200 movies, you know what I mean? He gets special treatment." That I treat everyone the same. When you work with me, when you direct me, you're gonna know that Ocho gave 110%, but he wasn't a diva and he wasn't that person that you know what I mean, was hard to work with. So I'll treat the crew members and the caterer the same I treat the A-list actor.
Cool, cool. Now, yeah, I did have a question because I know you mentioned earlier you're SAG, right?
FICOR now. I got in trouble because I
That's what I
was
was going to ask you. Yeah.
I got in trouble. I was a SAG actor working on some indie movies, and as SAG, you can only do SAG stuff. And I was doing indie stuff. Got in trouble. I didn't know the process, and so I dropped to FICOR, which is still part of SAG, but yet I can work both. And so I get the I tell people think really hard when you want to go SAG. Try and go FICOR. A lot of big time actors, John Voight. Um, there's other big actors that are FICOR, and they get to work indie and SAG stuff. So that's how I get away with that. But I still get my retirement. I still get my all that the stuff, the residuals that a SAG actor would get as a FICOR actor.
Okay. Yeah. Because I was going to ask you, especially because now you're in Texas, and Texas is not a union state like Cali would be,
Yeah.
or Louisiana and Atlanta or Georgia. Those three are the major big hubs, and they're all union based, as opposed to here in Texas, we're not.
I'm thriving here in Texas, doing a whole bunch of indie stuff and working with a whole bunch of indie directors. And my schedule is so booked up. I know we've planned on doing stuff together too.
Yeah.
So we're going to get that going. I know before you say it, me and you are trying to get the Chicano lifestyle, Chicano life out and me being a Chicano, you being a Chicano, and growing up where I came from, you where you came from, you know, we want to show the Chicano lifestyle, the Chicano life, and give that a highlight, you know.
Thanks for putting me on the spot, bro.
But hey, you know, you put me on the spot for the last hour, I'm gonna get you. But we got some stuff in the works too, and I know that like I said, some of these Texas directors I've worked with are some of the best I've worked with, and I'm looking to make myself known in Texas.
Well, you are known from everywhere that I've seen. Almost every independent project that I've seen, I see Ocho's name on it, at least for the last year or so. And I'm like, man, dude, talk about hustle. You hustle
everywhere, bro. Like, you don't know the hustle, bro. I'll be acting in Atlanta. I'll be acting in Florida. I'll be acting in California, bro. Then you'll see me back in Texas. You'll see me in Arizona.
then flying to Tennessee for wrestling.
Tennessee for wrestling. Detroit for wrestling. I'm just hustle, bro. I think stewardesses on Delta Airlines know me really well. They're like, Ocho, you're back. You were just here last week. I get frequent flyer miles, let me tell you.
I love it, bro.
They know what cookie Hollywood Ocho likes on that
flight. Man, it's been great freaking talking to you and catching up with you. And like I said, we do have a lot of projects. And I'm gonna bring you back. Because I want to bring you back. We just touched the icing on the cake.
Surface.
Yeah.
Just the surface.
And I do, and I honestly do want to bring you back. But this was just like a little taste of what, like you said, what's to come. Because I know you got plans, and we talked offline. And oh man, I want to say so much, but I gotta watch what I say.
Yeah, same thing.
Know your place.
If only I could tell you what's coming down the pike. It's gonna change worlds, man. And people will then know why I do the things I do, because I always have a plan.
And that's why I tell you, every time I get around you, I get in trouble because I get excited. I get these big headed like dreams of doing stuff because you're intoxicating, bro. And it's awesome working with somebody like yourself. Now, real quick, let's recap. Where can we find you as a production company, you as an actor, you as a well, you don't wrestle no more, so we can't do wrestling. But yeah. If you
So
didn't watch it on YouTube, oh well, you didn't catch that one.
you didn't catch nothing.
You know,
www.burningbulb publishing is go on the site, see some of the movies. We represent JC Films 2 in distribution, which is one of the biggest faith-based companies. So all their movies are represented by Burning Bulb Publishing. We got horror movies in there. We got action movies in there. You can see us on many platforms. If you're not looking at spinning Tubi, you type in my name, do a search for Michael Ocho or Ochotorena if you can spell it, and you'll see a ton of my movies pop up. John Light, if you haven't seen John Light, go see John Light. It's on
awesome
Tubi,
movie.
Amazon, Pureflix, everywhere. And ton of movies. You type in Hollywood Ocho, Google, YouTube, Roku channel, TPW, which is Total Psychopathic Wrestling, TLW. You'll see Hollywood Ocho Wrestling. And yeah, I retired. I retired.
Now, acting. How can we get a hold of you as an actor, brother?
As an actor, you can look me up. You can get a hold of me Instagram, Ocho8mm. Look me up and send me a message on Facebook. I got agents. But you indie actors, I know how it is to reach out to actors. You reach out to me personally, man. We can subtract the agents and talk to me personally. Like I said, through Instagram, through Facebook. Trust me, everybody knows who Ocho is. You can get a hold of the greatest bad guy that ever lived. But, I'm always wanting to work. I got a schedule that if you want to use me, you got to let me know in advance because you know this, brother. I'm booked way in advance. I got stuff going on, but I love to be in your project. I love to work with directors that are off and starting. I got a director I'm working on in San Antonio called a director out in San Antonio, and maybe I shouldn't give it away.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah. And I'm out there working with directors that only have a couple movies under the belt or new directors, and I'm helping them, giving my stardom so that they can be out there. You know what I mean? And I love to work, man.
Got it, brother. And again, guys,
you know what? Mexicans, we'll holes for work, man.
And again, guys out there, film my film new guys, do follow his films, dude. If you haven't catched any of his, especially again, John Light, that's the one I know has biggest impact on me. But he's done a ton of movies, over 130 films, different variations of bad guys, good guys. You have a really badass repertoire. If you are an indie maker with a film, hit him up, talk to him, get to know this man. This man is an asset to have in your corner. And again, Ocho, I do appreciate you coming on board. And like I said, this won't be the last time. This is the first time that I have you. And it's always great to talk to you. And I hate talking to you at the same time because every time I talk to you, I get excited and I want to do shit. And I'm like, ah.
Yeah. Before I leave, I got to say, man, I've worked with you, bro. And I'm not just trying to blow steam up your butt, but he right here, the man I'm talking to is one of the best directors I've ever worked with. He's got good vision. He needs to hurry up and do Lowriders versus Zombies too, because Ocho's waiting. And what's it called? You're a great person, not just as a director, not just as a filmmaker. You're a great person, man, family man, and I admire, bro, that you continued your education, bro. And you're a good example of a Chicano that's rising up, bro, and that pursued his education and that has his family in the forefront. And I admire you, bro. I respect you, bro, and all that you're doing, man. And like I said, I'm not trying to blow steam up your butt, but you are a great person, man.
Dude, thank you, brother. I do really think I'm gonna cut all that out so nobody listens to that shit. But again, Ocho, thank you, and I know you're.
I'm just kidding.
I know CC's in the background. CC, thank you for being there. Keep him in the line because I know he gets out of line. Um, great family.
I'm a 45-year-old kid, man.
And again, you do have a great family, great support system. My time's about up, and I don't want to get cut off without saying again, thank you one more time. And until next time, guys, see you.
One last thing.
Go for it.
Without you, I'm nothing, and I love you. And I want to just say, my kids, Sean, Dominic, Mariah, Joshua, and Mikey, you guys are the reason I do what I do, and I push forward. And I hope that you can look when I'm gone and say, my dad did all this for me and to create a legacy for me.
Badass. Thank you. And with that, film guys, see you till next time. All right. Bye.